While Western governments are trying to divide the Palestinian people and are supporting Israel in its genocide against the Palestinian people, and while EU states and the US and a fraction of other countries, mainly the Israel supporters, the genocide cartel as we call them, label the Palestinian resistance and delegitimize them, China and Russia are working to get the Palestinians together. You had Russia calling Hamas and Fatah and all of the Palestinian political parties back in February. They met with Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister. He told them at the time, we want you not to impose, he clearly said that, not to impose, we don't impose anything. Look at the approach of people who think they're entitled to tell the Palestinians what to do, like the clown governments in Europe and the US and Russia. Look at the difference. But we advise you to get closer together, unite, and that would help us bring the Palestinian case, and it would support us bringing it to our Western counterparts, our Western friends, to support a Palestinian state. At the time, and I spoke about this, you had confirmation that the main obstacle in this reconciliation conversation they had was the Palestinian Authority led by Mahmoud Abbas, who's closely tied with Israel. They're serving Israel. They've been serving them for 30 years now. And it was a senior figure in the PFLP who said that, by the way. His name is Maher al-Tahir, and he said that from Lebanon. He said, unfortunately, our friends from the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank, they couldn't confirm that they are willing to support the resistance and have a united front against Israel. So that didn't work. Now China is stepping in. China, again, they invited the Palestinian political movements, and they are again trying to unite them. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to highlight how important that is. Such a noble thing, trying to bring people together. They know how complicated the situation is. They know that Israel and its Western allies, they thrive on this division between the Palestinian political parties, and they spend billions on the Palestinian Authority to keep them at bay. And obviously, they've been serving them for that long. But China is attempting. Maybe China is thinking, okay, I have some disagreements here and there, but I don't have an active war, right? I have tensions with Taiwan, but they don't have a war currently going on like Russia does with Ukraine. And maybe they think that they might be able to support better than Russia. So they invited them, they met there, and they spoke with the Palestinian movements and the Palestinian political leaders. And they spoke about the war, the genocide, potentially having a Palestinian state, and they really focused on legitimizing the Palestinian resistance. That's something very important here, because the United States and European countries, they always talk about, labeling the Palestinian resistance. Although they're a tiny minority, by the way. The countries that label Hamas, for example, just about 17% of the world's population, but they act as if they're the international community, 17% of world states, about 34 countries, over 160, they don't. They consider them legitimate. So MEE, the Middle East Eye, they had an article, and then they spoke with an analyst regarding this meeting about these talks between the Palestinian movements and political movements, and they spoke about legitimizing the Palestinian resistance and China being keen on relations with Hamas as well. And it was reported in that article, Chinese diplomat Wang Qijian met with Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Qatar in March, the first meeting between China and Hamas since October. It followed Wang's trip to Israel and the occupied West Bank. Wang said China was keen on relations with Hamas, which he called a part of the Palestinian national fabric. Haniyeh told Wang the war needed to end quickly and called on Israel to withdraw its troops from the Gaza Strip. Ahmed Abu Duh, an associate fellow at Chatham House's Middle East and North Africa program, said that unlike the US and some Western Arab allies, China believes that the goal of eliminating Hamas is misguided. China believes that this could be counterproductive, and only Hamas's inclusion in the process would lead to peace with Israel, the analyst said on X. By hosting Palestinian reconciliation talks, China's objective is to legitimize Hamas as a political faction. This supports China's standing in the global south, he added, where the majority of countries don't identify Hamas as a terrorist organization, but see it as a resistance movement. In hearings before the International Court of Justice in February, China expressed its backing for the right of the Palestinian people to use armed force to combat Israel's occupation of their land, calling it an inalienable right well-founded in international law. Again, China and Russia, they prove to the world that these people have a much more realistic, progressive stance when it comes to the Palestinian case, unlike the leaders of EU states, leaders of the US, totally siding with this genocidal satanic death cult, primarily because they are an extension of it. We still haven't had the outcome of these negotiations. However, I will keep you updated once they do come out.